The Awakening. Captain Alina Reyes stood at the command deck of the survey vessel Horizon, her eyes fixed on the holographic display, showing an unusual energy signature emanating from a dwarf planet at the edge of the Oort cloud. After 15 years with the United Earth Exploration Corps, she had developed an instinct for discoveries, and something about this signal made her skin tingle with anticipation. "Dr. Nakamura, what do you make of this?" she asked, gesturing toward the pulsing blue light on the display. The ship's science officer adjusted his glasses and leaned closer to the hologram. "It's not natural, Captain. The energy signature is too uniform, too deliberate. Someone or something is generating it." Elena nodded, her decision already made. "Plot a course. We're going to investigate." The Horizon approached the dwarf planet cautiously, its sensors scanning for any sign of danger. As they entered orbit, the true nature of the anomaly became clear. An artificial structure was buried beneath the icy surface, massive in scale. "It's bigger than anything we've ever built," whispered Lieutenant Commander Jackson, the ship's tactical officer. "And according to these readings, it's at least 100,000 years old." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Humanity had only achieved interstellar travel 50 years ago. "Prepare a landing party. I want to see this up close." 6 hours later, Elena led a team through a tunnel they had melted into the ice. Their path illuminated by floating drones, they descended deeper into the dwarf planet until they reached what appeared to be an entrance. A massive door emblazoned with symbols that seemed oddly familiar despite being clearly alien. These markings, Dr. Nakamura ran his gloved hand over the engravings. They resemble Proto-Indo-European script, but that's impossible. Before Elena could respond, the door began to glow with an inner blue light. Seams appeared where none had been visible before, and slowly, silently, it opened inward. "Stand ready," Elena ordered, her hand moving to her sidearm as the team's lights pierced the darkness beyond. What they found defied explanation. A vast chamber stretched before them, so large their lights couldn't reach the far walls. But what dominated the space were 7 enormous vessels suspended in what appeared to be some kind of energy field. Ships of a design unlike anything humanity had ever created, yet somehow familiar in their lines and proportions. "Captain," called one of the engineers, his voice echoing. "There's an active console here." Elena approached the terminal, which illuminated as she drew near. The screen displayed symbols similar to those on the door, but as she watched, they shifted, rearranged, and transformed into modern English. "Identity scan complete. Human genetic signature confirmed. Welcome, descendants." The words appeared on the screen, followed by a shimmer of light that coalesced into a holographic figure, humanoid, gender-neutral, clad in what appeared to be an ancient form of military uniform. "I am Sentinel, guardian eye of the Architect fleet," the figure announced, its voice resonant and clear. "It has been 127,843 standard years since my systems were placed in standby mode." Elena found her voice despite her shock. "What is this place? Who built these ships?" Sentinel's expression remained neutral, but something like surprise seemed to flicker across its holographic features. "You do not know. The historical records were supposed to be preserved." The AI paused. "This facility houses the last remnants of humanity's first galactic fleet. Your ancestors built these ships, Captain Elena Reyes." The team exchanged stunned glances. "That's not possible," Dr. Nakamura protested. "Humans only achieved spaceflight a few centuries ago. We've only had interstellar capability for 50 years. "Incorrect," Sentinel stated. "Humanity achieved interstellar travel 150,000 years ago. At your civilization's peak, humans, then known as the Architects, controlled a third of the galaxy." The AI's hologram waved a hand, and the chamber's lights activated fully, revealing the true scale of the ships. Each was at least 2 kilometers in length, their hulls gleaming as if freshly forged despite their age. "What happened?" Elena asked, a sense of dread building in her stomach. War, Sentinel answered simply. The Architect Empire faced an enemy they could not defeat through conventional means. As a final measure, they enacted the Rebirth Protocol, returning to Earth, erasing all knowledge of their advanced technology, and beginning civilization anew while hiding caches of their most powerful weapons throughout the solar system, to be rediscovered when humanity once again reached the stars. Elena struggled to comprehend the implications. Are you saying all of human history, our wars, our struggles to advance, was planned? Not planned, but anticipated. Your ancestors hoped that by restarting civilization, humanity might evolve differently, might find new solutions to old problems. The Rebirth Protocol was designed to give humanity a second chance. Before Elena could ask more questions, an alarm sounded from Sentinel's console. The AI's expression grew concerned. Long-range sensors have detected multiple vessels approaching the solar system. Their signature matches the Concordium, a coalition of species that rose to prominence after the fall of the Architect Empire. They believe themselves to be the first advanced civilization in the galaxy. They do not know of humanity's true legacy. Are they hostile? Lieutenant Commander Jackson asked, his hand moving to his weapon. Unknown, Sentinel replied. But their course suggests they have detected the activation of this facility. They will arrive in approximately 7 Earth days. Elena made a decision. Sentinel, can these ships still fly? Can they be operated? Yes, they were preserved in stasis, ready to be reactivated when needed. Each vessel is equipped with an AI similar to myself to assist with operations. And weapons? Do they have weapons? They are warships, Captain Reyes. They represent the pinnacle of Architect military technology. Elena turned to her team. Contact the Horizon. I want a secure channel to Earth Command immediately. She looked back at Sentinel. Wake up the first ship. We need to be ready when these visitors arrive. Over the next 3 days, Elena's small survey crew worked tirelessly alongside Sentinel to prepare the first of the ancient vessels, a ship called Prometheus, for activation. Earth Command had been skeptical at first, but the data Elena transmitted back was irrefutable. Humanity was facing its first contact with an advanced alien civilization, and the odds were stacked against them. On the 4th day, Elena stood on the bridge of the Prometheus as its systems came online. The ship's AI, calling itself Helios, greeted her with the same recognition Sentinel had shown. The ship recognizes you as human, Sentinel explained. In the final days of the war, only those with pure human DNA were permitted to command the fleet. It was a security measure against infiltration. How do we control it? Elena asked, eyeing the unfamiliar console layouts. You don't, replied Helios, the ship's AI, manifesting as a hologram beside Sentinel. Not in the way you're thinking. These vessels were designed to bond with their commanders. I will handle the technical aspects of navigation and weapons. You will provide tactical decisions and strategic direction. Elena approached what appeared to be the captain's chair in the center of the bridge. As she sat down, the chair adjusted to her form, and holographic displays sprang to life around her. Neural interface initializing, Helios announced. This may cause momentary discomfort. Before Elena could respond, she felt a tingling sensation at the base of her skull, which quickly spread throughout her body. Suddenly, she could feel the ship, its systems, its capabilities, its power, as if it were an extension of herself. My God, she whispered. The technological sophistication was overwhelming. The Prometheus didn't just have engines. It had gravity manipulation technology that could bend space itself. Its weapons didn't fire projectiles or energy beams. They disrupted the fundamental forces holding matter together. The Concordium fleet has accelerated, Sentinel announced. New estimated arrival, 36 hours. Elena closed her eyes, feeling the ship's sensors extend outward, painting a picture of the approaching fleet in her mind. 15 vessels, arranged in a formation that suggested both military precision and caution. "They're scanning us," she said, the information flowing directly into her consciousness through the neural link. "They've detected the energy signature from the activation of the Prometheus." Dr. Nakamura looked at her with concern. "Captain, you can't possibly be considering engaging them with just one ship. We should wait for reinforcements from Earth." Elena shook her head. "Earth has nothing that can match these vessels, and the Concordium will arrive long before any meaningful military force could reach us." She took a deep breath. "Besides, we don't know their intentions. This isn't necessarily going to be a fight." "Incoming transmission," Helios announced. "The lead Concordium vessel is attempting communication." "Put it through," Elena ordered. A holographic screen materialized, showing a being unlike any Elena had seen before. It had multiple eyes arranged in a semicircle around what must have been its head, and spoke through a vertical slit that pulsed with bioluminescence. "Unidentified vessel," the being said, its words translated by Helios. "You have activated technology restricted by Concordium Treaty. Identify yourself and state your purpose." Elena straightened in her chair. "This is Captain Elena Reyes of Earth. We have claimed this vessel as our inheritance. We are preparing to conduct tests of its systems within our own solar system." There was a pause, then, "Earth." "Your species designation?" "Human," Elena replied. The alien's multiple eyes widened simultaneously. "Impossible. The architects were eradicated during the Purge Wars. Their homeworld was quarantined." Elena felt a chill run through her. She glanced at Sentinel, whose holographic face had gone completely still. "The Purge Wars?" she asked quietly. "A deception," Sentinel replied, equally quietly. "After the activation of the Rebirth Protocol, other species rose to power. They rewrote history, claiming victory over what they called the Architect Tyranny. They did not know that the architects had voluntarily withdrawn." Elena turned back to the communication. "We are not familiar with these Purge Wars. We are a peaceful exploration vessel that has discovered technology within our own solar system. By what right do you claim authority over artifacts found in our home system?" The alien commander seemed to confer with others off-screen before responding. "Human vessels are to power down immediately and prepare for boarding. The technology you have accessed is forbidden. Compliance is mandatory." The transmission cut off. "They're powering weapons," Helios reported dispassionately. "Their technology is advanced, but inferior to this vessel. Probability of successful defense, 98.7%. Elena felt the weight of history pressing down on her. Humanity had apparently once been a galactic power, then chosen to start over. Now they were facing the children of those they had once ruled or fought. "Options?" she asked. "We can flee deeper into the solar system," Sentinel suggested. "The other 6 vessels could be activated given time. We can stand and fight," Helios countered. "This ship alone could destroy their entire fleet. Or we can attempt to negotiate from a position of strength," Dr. Nakamura offered. "Show them we can defend ourselves without actually engaging in combat." Elena considered the choices before her. The fate of Earth, perhaps all of humanity, rested on her decision. "Helios, bring the defensive systems online but hold weapons in standby. Sentinel, begin the awakening sequence for the other ships. We're going to show the Concordium exactly who they're dealing with." As the ancient warship powered up, its systems responding to her commands through the neural link, Elena couldn't help but wonder if humanity was about to reclaim its place among the stars, or repeat the mistakes that had led to its fall in the first place. The reckoning. The Prometheus moved with fluid grace as it ascended from its ancient berth, ice and rock vaporizing around it as the massive warship rose through the dwarf planet's surface. Elena felt every aspect of the vessel's movement through the neural interface, a sensation both exhilarating and terrifying. "The Concordium fleet has entered the outer solar system," Helios reported. "They have deployed into combat formation." On the holographic tactical display, 15 red markers arranged themselves in a 3-dimensional pattern that Elena recognized as a standard encirclement approach. They were treating the Prometheus as a hostile force. "Open a channel," she ordered. "All frequencies." When Helios indicated the connection was active, Alina spoke clearly and with as much authority as she could muster. "Concordium vessels, this is Captain Alina Reyes of the warship Prometheus. We have no desire for conflict, but we will defend ourselves if threatened. We invite you to send a single representative vessel for peaceful discourse." For several tense moments, there was no response. Then, a single ship detached from the Concordium formation and advanced while the others maintained their distance. "They're approaching cautiously," Lieutenant Commander Jackson observed. "Weapons powered but not locked on." Alina nodded. "A good sign." "Helios, maintain defensive posture, but ensure our weapons systems remain visible to their scanners. Let them know we could fight if forced to." The alien commander from before appeared again on the communication screen. Its multiple eyes narrowed in what Alina interpreted as suspicion. "Your vessel's design and energy signature are unmistakably Architect," it stated. "Yet our records indicate all Architect command personnel were eliminated." "Explain." Alina glanced at Sentinel, who nodded encouragingly. "Your records are incomplete," Alina replied. "What you call architects were humans, my ancestors. They were not eliminated. They chose to return to their homeworld and begin anew. I am the proof of their survival." The alien conferred with others off-screen again, more urgently this time. "This claim requires verification," it finally said. "Our historical archives speak of the architects as conquerors who were ultimately defeated. Yet you speak of voluntary withdrawal. History is written by those who remain to tell it," Alina said. "We have our own records." She nodded to Sentinel, who transmitted a carefully curated selection of historical data from the facility's archives. As the Concordium commander reviewed the information, Dr. Nakamura approached Alina's chair and spoke quietly. "Captain, Sentinel has informed me that 3 more ships are now in the final stages of activation. The Athena, the Apollo, and the Artemis will be operational within the hour." Alina acknowledged this with a subtle nod, keeping her attention on the alien commander, whose multiple eyes were now darting rapidly as it processed the information. "These records conflict with our most fundamental historical understandings," it finally said. "The Council of Elders must be consulted. We request a cessation of hostilities until guidance can be received." "We never initiated hostilities," Alina pointed out. "We were prepared to defend ourselves against your threat of boarding and seizure." The alien made a gesture that Helios interpreted as conciliatory, a precautionary response to the activation of weapons that once devastated star systems. The histories speak of architect weaponry with reverence and fear. Alina felt a surge of unease. What kind of civilization had humanity once built that aliens still spoke of their weapons with reverence and fear over 100,000 years later? "Perhaps we should discuss this face to face," she suggested. "A neutral meeting. 1 vessel from each side, minimal crews." After a brief consultation, the Concordium commander agreed. A meeting was arranged at a point halfway between the current positions of the 2 fleets. As preparations were made, Alina retreated to a private chamber off the bridge to confer with Sentinel and Helios. "What aren't you telling me about humanity's past?" she demanded. "Why do they speak of architects with such fear?" The 2 AIs exchanged what could only be described as an uncomfortable glance. "The architect empire was not always benevolent," Sentinel admitted. "In its early expansionist phase, particularly, many species were subjugated rather than incorporated peacefully. Humans were conquerors," Alina stated flatly. "Humans were survivors," Helios countered. "The galaxy was not a peaceful place when humanity first ventured beyond Earth. The early colonies faced extinction-level attacks from multiple species. The militarization and subsequent expansion were born of necessity." "But it evolved beyond necessity," Sentinel added. "Power, once tasted, is difficult to relinquish. The architect empire became what it had once fought against. Until the Rebirth Protocol," Alina concluded, A reset button for an entire species. A chance for humanity to evolve differently. Sentinel corrected. To learn cooperation before confrontation. The architects of the protocol believed that if humanity rediscovered its technological heritage after developing a more collaborative culture, the result would be different. Elena considered this. And now we found these weapons before we've even unified our own planet. We still fight among ourselves over resources and ideology. Yet you, personally, chose negotiation over demonstration of force, Helios pointed out. Perhaps humanity has evolved after all. Before Elena could respond, Lieutenant Commander Jackson's voice came through the ship's communication system. Captain, the additional vessels are now fully operational and await your command. And the Concordium has sent coordinates for the meeting location. The meeting took place on the Prometheus itself, a decision that surprised Elena, but which Sentinel explained was likely a test. The Concordium wanted to verify that humans truly control the Architect vessel. The Concordium delegation consisted of 3 different species. The multi-eyed commander, who introduced itself as High Commander Zextal of the Volus Imperium. A tall, willowy being with reflective skin, called Ambassador Lyria of the Elysian Concord, and a small, hunched creature that seemed more mechanical than biological, identified only as the Archivist of the Mnemosine Collective. The 3 founding species of the Concordium, Sentinel whispered to Elena as they entered the conference room. This is unprecedented. They rarely appear together outside their council chambers. Elena had assembled a small team of her own. Herself, Dr. Nakamura, Lieutenant Commander Jackson, and holographic projections of both Sentinel and Helios. Welcome aboard the Prometheus, Elena greeted them formally. We appreciate your willingness to discuss matters diplomatically. The archivist stepped forward, its voice a surprising baritone from such a small frame. Before diplomatic exchanges can commence, verification is required. If you are truly the descendants of the architects, prove it. Sentinel projected a holographic display in the center of the table. Human DNA from 127,843 years ago, it explained, showing a complex molecular structure. Then a second structure appeared beside it. Captain Ray's DNA. The correlation is undeniable. The archivist produced a small device that scanned the holographic data, then scanned Elena herself. After a moment, it made a sound that Helios translated as an expression of shock. Verification confirmed, it announced. These are indeed descendants of the architects. The quarantine has failed. Ambassador Lyria stepped forward, her reflective skin rippling with what seemed to be emotion. Not failed, archivist, perhaps, completed its purpose. High Commander Zextal's multiple eyes focused intently on Elena. If you are truly architect descendants, then you control the most powerful weapons the galaxy has ever known. Your small world, which we believe to be a primitive quarantine zone, now represents a threat to the stability of the Concordium. Or an opportunity, Ambassador Lyria countered. The Concordium faces challenges the founders could not have anticipated. The void hegemony presses against our borders. The quantum schism grows wider. Perhaps this is providence. Elena leaned forward. We don't want to be seen as a threat. Earth doesn't even know about this meeting yet. We are explorers who stumbled upon our own forgotten history. Yet you activated the warships, Zextal pointed out. And more awaken as we speak. As a precaution, Elena explained. You threatened to board us and seize technology found in our own solar system. What would you have done in our position? The archivist made a gesture that seemed to indicate concession. The defensive response was logical. However, the re-emergence of architect technology disrupts 100,000 years of galactic order. The Council must be informed. Decisions must be made. What kind of decisions? Lieutenant Commander Jackson asked sharply. Whether Earth is to be welcomed as a sovereign power placed under Concordium authority, or Zextal trailed off, or eliminated as a threat. Elena finished for him. Let me be very clear. We have awakened 4 ancient warships so far. There are 3 more in the facility, and according to Sentinel, dozens of similar facilities throughout our solar system. If the Concordium chooses hostility, humanity will defend itself. The tension in the room was palpable until Ambassador Lyria raised a hand. Perhaps we are approaching this incorrectly. Captain Rice, what does Earth want? If you could establish your place in the galactic community, what would it be? Elena hadn't expected such a direct question. She thought carefully before answering. We want what any sentient species wants: to survive, to grow, to learn. We don't seek conquest or dominion. But we won't accept subjugation either. Earth is our home, this solar system our birthright. We're willing to join a galactic community as equals, not as subjects. The 3 Concordium representatives conferred quietly among themselves before the ambassador spoke again. There is precedent for this. New species are discovered and incorporated into the Concordium regularly, though none with such a complex history. We propose a compromise. Earth will be recognized as a sovereign system with the right to utilize architect technology found within its boundaries. In exchange, Earth will agree to Concordium oversight of any architect technology deployed beyond your solar system. And if we refuse? Elena asked. Zextal's posture stiffened. Then the Concordium must consider all options to maintain galactic security. Before the situation could escalate, an urgent communication came through to the Prometheus. Captain, Helios announced, we're detecting a new fleet approaching from the direction of the galactic core. 50 vessels, configuration unknown. The Concordium representatives reacted with visible alarm. The void hegemony, the archivist stated. They must have detected the activation energy as well. Their timing is problematic. What is the void hegemony? Dr. Nakamura asked. A coalition of species that rejected Concordium governance, Ambassador Lyria explained. They have grown increasingly aggressive in recent cycles, if they have come for the architect technology. High Commander Zextal turned to Elena. Captain Rice, we find ourselves at a crossroads of history. The void hegemony must not acquire architect weaponry. They lack the ethical constraints to wield such power responsibly. And you believe you have such constraints? Elena challenged. We have maintained peace for 100,000 years. The archivist stated. The hegemony would use these weapons for conquest. Elena looked to her team, then back to the Concordium representatives. I need to consult with Earth Command before making any binding agreements, but it seems we face a common threat. There is no time, Zextal insisted. The hegemony fleet will arrive in less than 6 hours. Our ships are formidable, but we are outnumbered. Elena made a decision she hoped she wouldn't regret. Then perhaps it's time to show the galaxy that humanity has returned. Sentinel, bring all 7 warships to full combat readiness. Lieutenant Commander Jackson, coordinate with the Concordium tactical officers to develop a joint defense strategy. As the meeting broke up with newfound urgency, Elena returned to the bridge of the Prometheus. Through the neural link, she could feel the ancient warship humming with power and purpose. The other 6 vessels rose from their long slumber, breaking through the dwarf planet's surface in a spectacular display of light and energy. The 7 architect warships, now commanded by hastily assembled crews from the horizon and volunteers from Earth's defense forces who had arrived via emergency shuttle, formed a protective screen between the approaching hegemony fleet and Earth. The Concordium vessels have taken position alongside ours, Jackson reported. Combined fleet strength, 22 ships. Still outnumbered more than 2 to 1, Elena noted. Architect warships were designed to face overwhelming odds. Helios reminded her. 1 Prometheus-class vessel could engage 10 standard capital ships with favorable outcome probabilities. The hegemony fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. Their ships were angular, almost crystalline in appearance, bristling with what Helios identified as weapon emplacements. They're hailing us, Dr. Nakamura reported. Put them through, Elena ordered. The being that appeared on the communication screen was like nothing Alina had seen before, a shifting mass of darkness with points of light that might have been eyes. Concordium vessels, it said, its voice surprisingly melodic. You have violated treaty boundaries. This system is unclaimed space. Withdraw immediately. Before Alina could respond, the image of High Commander Zextal appeared in a split screen. This system is under the protection of the Concordium and its native inhabitants. Your presence is the violation. Hegemony. The Hegemony commander's lights pulsed rapidly. Native inhabitants. Our scans show only a primitive world of no consequence. Alina signaled to be added to the communication. This primitive world is Earth, homeworld of humanity, what you would know as the architects. And these, she gestured to the ancient warships visible on the tactical display, are our inheritance. There was a long silence from the Hegemony commander. When it spoke again, there was a new note in its voice. Caution. The architects were eliminated. This is a deception. Scan our vessels, Alina challenged. Compare them to your historical records. We are who we claim to be, and we have awakened what was hidden. The Hegemony fleet's formation shifted, taking on a more defensive posture. If you are truly the architects returned, then the balance of power has shifted indeed, the Hegemony commander stated. We must consult with the consensus. They're stalling, Jackson muttered, waiting for reinforcements or developing a new strategy. Alina made a quick decision. Helios, activate the Prometheus's primary targeting array. Lock onto the Hegemony command vessel, but do not power weapons. Through the neural link, Alina felt the ancient targeting systems engage, painting the Hegemony flagship with invisible markers. What are you doing? Zextal demanded over the still-open channel. Providing a demonstration, Alina replied calmly. Helios, transmit targeting data to the Hegemony command vessel. Let them see exactly what we're capable of. The effect was immediate. The Hegemony fleet's formation broke apart as the command vessel abruptly changed position. Your point is made. Human, the Hegemony commander said, its melodic voice now tinged with what might have been respect. The Hegemony recognizes the sovereignty of Earth and the solar system. We will withdraw to discuss these developments. As the Hegemony fleet retreated, Alina felt a complex mix of emotions. Relief that conflict had been avoided, pride in humanity's newly reclaimed heritage, and concern about what this heritage truly meant for Earth's future. Hours later, as Alina stood in the observation deck of the Prometheus, watching Earth rise over the lunar horizon, Sentinel joined her. The Concordium Council has formally recognized Earth's sovereignty, the AI reported. Ambassador Lyria has requested permission to establish a permanent diplomatic mission. Alina nodded. And the other 6 facilities Helios mentioned. The ones containing more ships. Still dormant, Sentinel replied, awaiting your command to activate or remain hidden. Alina considered the beautiful blue-green planet before her. Humanity had been given a second chance, a clean slate to rewrite their history. Now, they stood at another crossroads. Keep them dormant for now, she decided. Humanity needs time to understand what we were before deciding what we will become. As the ancient warship glided silently through space, Alina couldn't help but wonder if humanity would choose a different path this time. Not conquerors, not tyrants, but explorers and builders. The architects not of empires, but of peace. The stars seemed to watch, waiting for humanity's choice.